So in the last video, we ended with this exercise solution. So let's keep going with our HTML, our web design, and talk about different types of tags. So everything we've done so far is a tag that needs a closing tag. So like header ones, yes, needs closing tags. Paragraphs need closing tags. But there are types of tags that are they just exist on their own, like Img, whatever this is, or a link, whatever this is. Those are just tags that just open and close themselves, and that's it. So for instance, in this shopping list, I think I still have that up. Okay, so here's my shopping list. Let's say I wanted to have a description here, maybe after the H1 would be a logical place. I am going to go to Superstore to buy these things. And then I'll say, thank you, Mr. Armstrong, because apparently I'm going to sign my shopping lists like I sign my work emails. Okay, so I try this. Oh, this is great. So I'm going to do this. I save this. When I refresh, ooh, I'm going to buy these things. Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. All on one line. That's really ugly. So there is actually a tag we can put into a paragraph called the break tag. And break just says that you want a line break there. So if I hit BR and then tab, it'll add an automatic break. And you'll notice that break doesn't have, like, there's no such thing as like a /BR. Or here we go. See, it's not even letting me fill it in for me because it thinks that's because it's not a tag you can close. So like I had to manually type that /BR doesn't make sense. BRs don't have /BRs. BRs just exist on their own, and the BR is a line break. So now I say, I'm going to Superstore to buy these things. Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. I guess it's an email, and then my list underneath. So let's look at some other, and then inside closing tags, break is sort of an interesting one, and that is just a break and that's it, and it's inside of a paragraph. But generally, self-closing tags have various properties that you're going to use. They're called attributes, and the attributes say something about the tag. So generally, it's your tag, and then whatever your attribute name is, you assign a value. And in some cases, it's a tag with a closing tag, or it could be a self-closing tag. Like here, your attribute was src, and the src is star.jpg. Oh, I guess this is an image. And in fact, img is an image tag. So img source is puppy.jpg. That's a good example. Or p paragraph class equals quote. We'll talk about classes later. It has to do with styling, actually, cascading style sheets. And so that's bark bark. A href is www.google.com. Link, rel, style sheet, blah, blah, blah. So all of these different things, this href, this rel, this type, this href over here, these are all different attributes. And as you can see, you can even have multiple attributes on one tag. So in this case, this link, whatever a link is, we'll talk about that in a later video. But this link has 1, 2, 3 different attributes that are given 3 different values of style sheet, text CSS, or this doesn't make sense. Anyway, whatever. So images. Images are a great example. So image source equals puppy.jpg. So let's say I've got my shopping list. Here's my shopping list up here, and I actually want a picture of produce. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to fresh produce. I'm going to find some, Calgary, sure, whatever. Images. Here we go. That's a nice, beautiful image. So let's get this picture of Sunrise Farmers Market, and let's open it up. And waiting for Pinterest to load. Okay, so I want to copy image address. And so copy image address gave me a link to that image. So if I just paste that here, you'll see there's my image, blah, 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 i.pin image, whatever. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an img tag. And you'll notice if I do img tab, it automatically brings me right into the source. And then I'm going to paste that website URL into the source. And now if I save this and go back to my shopping list and refresh, boom, there's the image, the exact image I just pulled from Google. So I don't know why you'd want an image in your shopping list, but that's how you do it. So you can add an image using the attributes. So here's another one. Ahref URL equals text. So here's one. Hopefully we can figure out what this one does. Ahref equals www.google.com. Click here to go to Google. Let's try that and see if it works. So let's make a new one. So we're still, oh, I guess we aren't in a paragraph anymore. So let's make this Superstore into a link. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make an anchor tab, a tab, href equals. Now this here I'm going to move over there. Okay, cool. So I'm going to make Superstore into an anchor, and anchor is the HTML language for a link. So the href here is the actual website for Superstore, which I think is realcanadiansuperstore.ca. I'm not sure. What is it? Superstore. Realcanadiansuperstore.ca. Okay, cool. This is turning into like a Superstore ad. www.realcanadiansuperstore.ca. Okay. Now, if I hit save on this, and I go back to my shopping list and I refresh, Superstore now is a link. But if I click this, it's actually not going to work. And I'll show you why. The reason why, if you go into this URL, this is actually in the file protocol. So when you open a file on your computer, it assumes that all of the links are going to files on your computer. So if you look at this, it's going to users, T Armstrong, that's me. In my desktop, it's trying to find a file called www.realcanadiansuperstore.com. But the actual Superstore website, if you look at it, is Hypertext Transfer Protocol S is secure, which means it's encrypted. So what we need to do is we actually need to add that https:// to our link, because that tells us that it is actually not on the same place here, which is the hard drive. It's actually online at https. So if we save this and go back to my shopping list, let's refresh this. If I click Superstore now, then boom, it actually takes me to the real Superstore website. Okay, cool. And we're going to talk more about links in a while. This idea of having HTTPS, that actually says that you're going to switch from wherever you are to Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which basically just means the internet. And usually when you actually have a live website, you're going onto other websites. But there are ways that you can actually link to web pages on the same site where you can actually just put the file name directly here. So if I had another file here, I think website 1 was one of my files. Let's take a look. If I go to desktop, if I say website 1, if I change this to website1.html and go back to here and refresh, this will now take me to the file that's on my desktop. This is my first website, Hello World, the thing we did in like 3 or 4 videos ago. And I didn't actually need to clarify. Oops, don't mean to open Acrobat, sorry. Don't need to close that. I don't need to clarify exactly where it is because it's in the same directory. Okay, and so that's how anchors work, and it's by providing an H reference, which is where you are sending them to. And that could be something in the same directory usually, or it could be, like we did down here, a full website link. Okay, and that is almost all I wanted to talk about. One other thing I wanted to talk about was the Mozilla Developers Network reference files. If you're ever wanting to look up anything to do with HTML, there's these fantastic things online, the MDN reference. So for instance, all HTML elements, that's like all the different tags, here are what they all are. There's H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. There's footers, asides, headers, navs. There's like, I don't know, 100 or something of these things. Realistically, I've only ever used, I think, maybe 10 or 20 of these things ever in all the websites I've ever made. Most of these you never need to use, but if you ever want to look up what like anchor we were just talking about, boom, you can click that and get details about what an HTML anchor element is with examples and everything all right there. And then attributes are the things that we were just talking about, the hrefs and so on. And so if we look up an href can apply to an anchor, an area, a base, or a link. And this is the URL of a linked resource, right? And whatever it is you're trying to find, that's an attribute. What's another attribute? We talked about SRC. SRC can apply to audio, embed, iframe, image, whatever. It's the URL of embeddable content. I don't know, I guess embeddable content is stuff that goes into your website. Okay, so anytime you want to look up anything, you can just Google MDN's Mozilla Developers Network. Oh, you see a search for DD tag. I was wondering what that was before. Let's say I want to know MDN and I want to know what the head tag is. So boom, MDN head tag, and there you go. That's details on exactly what the head is, what it can include, and all that sort of stuff. Okay.